So we are going to animate our rig. So obviously open up the last cleaned up version. So when you create a rig, generally during the rigging process, you may do some animation on it, such as we did for like the jaw, and I think we did it for the leg as well. Obviously, so you can test basically that the rig is working as well as the deformation, to perform the weight painting and such. But it's extremely common once the rig is complete to do some other animations with it for a couple of reasons. So one, you may have seen these before if you've ever watched behind the scenes. You'll just do these general twists and bending and movements of the character, almost like they're stretching or doing calisthenics or something of that sort. And again, it's just to test it to make sure that the deformations look good, that the rig doesn't break, that sort of thing. And then once it passed that test, which would be the pose test, often it will be sent off to somebody to do like a quick animation of it. And that could be any number of things, just like a quick little scene. It might be a scene that's going to be in the production. It might be just like a little short or something of that sort. And it's just to test it. Also, that way the animators can become acclimated to it. They can also make suggestions if there's features that are missing, that sort of thing. So I'm not going to have us make necessarily a new, make a short film, but what we'll do is we're just going to do a walk cycle. It won't utilize all the features of the rig, but I think it's just a good thing to have, and that way you can also see your animation in in production, or your rig in production actually performing the thing. And I know my experience has been since and I've been at Wilmington for a very long time, over 10 years, that they don't have that many animation courses. So I think this would just be good in case you don't have a lot of animation. If you've already have some animation, you can attempt to do the walk cycle on your own and not follow this tutorial if you know how to go about performing a walk cycle. In my case, I'm just going to go ahead and do this, and then you can follow along. Feel free to adjust it if you want to try and impose some sort of other walk aspect to it, meaning like you want to do like a limping walk, or a zombie walk, or a tired walk, or an excited walk, or a very masculine walk, or a very feminine walk. Whatever you want to do. So it'll have the same general keys, but they'll just the actual poses within those will be different. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start animating this. All right, so before we switch over to animation, although I just switched animation, I can see the camera here, so I'm just going to set this scene up. I want the camera to be in a better position, so I'm just going to go to layout here. We're going to back that thing up. Make sure that you do have the camera, visible and all that. So to go to select the camera, you can just click this button here. And then if you hit N, I guess N has, oh no, it's right there too. If you hit N, you can then go to view, and you want to do camera to view, because what happens is when you rotate, it rotates out of the camera. That's good and bad, because on the one hand, it makes it so that you don't actually move the camera, but it's also annoying to try and move the camera. So we just click on this, you do camera to view, and now when I rotate and move around, it will thusly move the camera as well. So that's a little bit better for the purposes of navigating. Leave yourself a little bit of headroom and a little bit of foot room, and we'll call that good. I'm going to go ahead and turn that back off. I'm going to hit N to put that away. And now when we go back to animation, you can see we have our work view and we have our view here. Okay, so this is obviously the camera view. Typically when we animate, we want to have the camera view over here as well as a work view here. So this is the view, obviously, that I'm going to do the animation in. But this is what, if it's the film, right? This is the camera. So sometimes you might make something that doesn't look as good here, but it looks much better there. So you might twist something that doesn't three-dimensionally make as much sense, but it's good for the camera. Or you think it looks good here, but on camera it looks a little bit awkward. This is what matters, right? The camera's king. This is the final output. Now, obviously, if we're making something for a 3D game, we have to take the entirety of the figure into account. But even in that case, this is still useful, because what it does is it shows me what it looks like without being obstructed by all these various things. You can also, if there's textural elements on the character where it's they have things and you need to be able to see those, you can also put on this one on the texturing stuff, where if I'm animating, it might make it a little more difficult to work with. If I it's just easier in this mode, and you can even go all the way into render mode. depending on what you're doing. You probably don't want to use that though, because it's not going to play real time when you go to play. So I'm just going to leave it right on. I can't see it well here. I would need to make a new material, but I'm just going to put it over here. It isn't super important, but I just wanted to denote what that was. Okay, so we have 2 views, and then on the bottom here, this is obviously the time slider, or the timeline. And what I want to do is we're going to do a walk cycle. So what that means is right now, if I hit play, it's going to play, and right now it's going all the way to 240 frames, which is 10 seconds, because we're doing 24 frames per second. So I'm going to go down here and switch it from it's going to 250, and we're going to switch this to 24. So now it does 24 frames. I'm just going to go to the end here. I'm going to grab this little nublet. I'm going to pull it this way until it's there. You can also zoom in and out if that helps as well. Just scroll wheel. And now you'll see when we hit spacebar, it's just going to play that, and we'll be able to see the loop. Okay. The other thing I want to do, just to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to show you this. Don't do this. We're going to put keys on our stuff, right? So I'm going to, move this over here, and then to put a key, you hit I. Okay. Now, what'll happen is when I do a key, I might then put another key somewhere else, right? So we go over here, and I go somewhere else, and then I have to hit I again. The problem with this, and this is totally a valid way, and to be frank, actually, it's my preferred way of actually animating, is keying all of the things. But for what we're doing here, it might not be as useful. What it's going to do is it literally keys all of the transforms, meaning when I hit N over here, it's keying all of these things. When in fact, I might not want to have a key on the rotation, because now there's going to be this rotation here when really I wanted to spin into the next keyframe. I only wanted to key just the one position, right? I didn't want to key or just the one attribute and not all of them. So if also I have to hit key every time, which you might find annoying. But what we could do instead, I'm just going to select and delete these, and I'm just going to select this, and then we'll hit Alt-G, which will reset. What we can do instead is, I'll go to the first frame here, we click on this, and this will be auto key. And what this is going to do is that when I move it, it automatically creates a key. But what you're going to notice, you can probably already see up here, it only keyed what I did. So, and if I expand this, you'll see it only keyed the location. Now watch, if I go over here, and then let's say here I do R, okay? You'll see it only keyed on the rotation this time. So what that means is basically by doing the auto key for one, I don't have to hit key every time. And also, it doesn't require me, it'll only key the things I want, so I don't have to delete keys that are interrupting the desired motion. So I'm going to have this on as well. You may not like it. If you want, you can key every frame. Depending on what I'm doing, when I'm doing locomotion, like big swinging actions and stuff, typically auto key is good because I don't want to key everything in between every pose. But if I'm doing something where it's more of a performance and you're kind of going pose to pose, think about people when they're gesturing while talking, I would want to key all the keys. So that way I make sure that the pose looks exactly the way it is and it's not going to be interpolated in between another one. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. So make sure that that is on, and I'm going to call that, and I'm going to call that good for this video. And then in the next video, we will actually start doing the leg keys.